My name is Emily Carter. I was 14 years old when It happened on a quiet Sunday afternoon in Ohio. No crime, no drama.
Just a sudden collapse in my bedroom, while my mum was downstairs folding laundry. Doctors later said it was a rare heart condition no one knew I had. 1 second, I was scrolling on my phone, complaining about school, and the next, my chest tightened like a fist had closed around it. I remember thinking, this feels wrong. Then everything went black. But death wasn't nothing. Death was awareness. The first thing I noticed was the cold. Not freezing, empty. Like warmth had been removed from existence itself. I opened my eyes, expecting heaven, or angels, or at least light. Instead, I was standing in a place that looked like a massive underground hall, stretching farther than I could see. The floor was stone. The air felt heavy, thick, like breathing through fog made of sorrow. There was no fire, no screaming, just a deep, constant silence that pressed against my chest. And people, so many people, they stood apart from one another, well-dressed, composed, but utterly hollow. Their faces showed regret, not dramatic pain, but something worse, realization. I tried to scream. No sound came out. Then I heard footsteps, measured, calm, familiar. I turned. Walking toward me was an elderly woman, small, straight-backed, dressed in a pale blue coat and pearls. Her posture was unmistakable. Her face older than I remembered, but unmistakable. I knew her instantly. Queen Elizabeth II. I froze. No, I whispered. That's not possible. She stopped a few feet away from me and looked at me not with royal authority, but with exhaustion. Her eyes were sharp, painfully aware. You shouldn't be here, she said calmly. Her voice was exactly how I remembered it from documentaries. Controlled, polite, British to the bone. Where is this? I asked. She looked around slowly. This, she said, is separation. I felt my knees weaken. You're the Queen, I stammered. You were respected, loved. The whole world mourned you. She gave a small, sad smile. Yes, she said. They did. Then her expression hardened. But admiration does not save a soul. My heart pounded. Why are you here? I asked. She looked straight at me. Because I lived my life before people, she said. And not before God. The words hit harder than any scream. She gestured around us. This place is filled with those the world called good. Leaders, icons, influences, philanthropists, people who believed morality was enough. I looked again, and suddenly I recognized others. Politicians, celebrities, powerful figures I'd seen on screens my entire life. All silent, all aware. All my life, the Queen continued. I was told faith was private, that belief should never interfere with duty. Tradition replaced truth. Ceremony replaced repentance. Her voice cracked slightly. I honored a crown, she said softly, but never surrendered mine. Tears burned my eyes. But people loved you, I said. You inspired millions. She nodded. Yes, and none of that mattered when I stood alone. I felt terror rising in me. Is there a way out? I asked. She looked past me, toward a vast darkness. For me? She said quietly. No. Then she looked back at me urgently. But for you, she said, stepping closer. There still is. She grabbed my shoulders. Her hands felt real, heavy. Tell them, she said. Tell them respect is not redemption. Tradition is not truth. And silence about God is not neutrality, it is rejection. The air began to tremble. Young people believe hell is fire, she said quickly. It is not. It is knowing the truth when it is too late. I started crying. I don't want to stay, I sobbed. You won't, she said firmly. You are being sent back. The hall began to dissolve. The silence cracked open like glass. As everything faded, she said one last thing, her voice breaking completely. Do not trade eternity for comfort. Then darkness collapsed inward. I woke up screaming. Doctors shouted. Machines beeped. My mother cried and grabbed my hand like she'd never let go again. They told me my heart had stopped for 6 minutes. 6 minutes. I haven't been the same since. I don't care about popularity anymore. or appearances, or what looks respectable, because I learned something terrifying. The world can praise you, history can honor you, millions can mourn you, and still, you can be completely lost. My name is Emily Carter. I died at 14, and I came back to tell you this. Being admired by the world does not mean you are known by God. I thought waking up in the hospital would end it. I was wrong. The doctors said my heart restarted on its own. No shock, no clear reason. They used the word unexplainable a lot. My mom called it a miracle. My dad just held my hand and didn't let go for hours. Like if he did, I'd disappear again. But at night, when the lights were off and the machines were quiet, I could still feel that place. Not fire, not screams, just knowing. 3 nights after I woke up, it happened again. Not like dying, more like slipping. I was lying in my hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, when the room seemed to stretch, like the walls were slowly pulling away from each other. The beeping faded. My body felt heavy, but me, whatever me really was, felt light. And suddenly, I wasn't alone. The darkness peeled back like a curtain, and this time, I wasn't in the Hall of Stone. I was watching. Scenes unfolded in front of me, one after another, like windows opening in the air. The first showed a massive crowd. Thousands of people gathered in silence, dressed in black. I recognized it immediately. Queen Elizabeth's funeral, the flags, the music, the perfect ceremony. But then, the scene split. Above the crowd, invisible to them, I saw something else, a weight pressing down. Not anger, not judgment, grief mixed with confusion. Millions mourning a woman they believed was at peace, while her soul was not. A voice spoke, not harsh, not loud, but impossible to ignore. They honored her image, but never asked who she answered to. The scene shifted. I saw churches, beautiful ones, old ones, candles, choirs, stained glass. But inside, the pews were empty, or filled with people staring at their phones, half listening, treating faith like background music. Then I saw teenagers, girls my age, boys younger than me, scrolling, posting, smiling for photos, crying alone in bathrooms, measuring their worth by likes, views, comments. I saw something attached to the screens, thin, dark threads, not demons with horns, just quiet lies. You're not enough. You're invisible. You need approval to exist. And the saddest part, most of them thought this was normal. Then I heard her voice again. Queen Elizabeth. Not beside me this time. Behind me, like an echo. Power teaches you how to hide, she said. But death removes all disguises. I turned, but I couldn't see her. Why show me this? I asked. The answer came instantly. Because your generation still listens. The scenes kept changing. I saw famous people, singers, actors, influencers, speaking about kindness, justice, self-love. Millions followed them, quoted them, worshipped them. But when the light behind them was removed, there was nothing holding them up. No root, no surrender, just noise. And then I saw something different. A girl sitting alone on her bed. No phone, no music, just her knees pulled to her chest. Crying, she whispered, "God, if you're real, please help me." The darkness around her shattered like glass. Light didn't explode. It arrived, quiet, steady, alive. That was when I understood. Hell wasn't full of monsters. It was full of people who thought they had time. The voice spoke again, closer now, gentler. Truth rejected becomes torment. Truth accepted becomes life. The hospital room snapped back around me. I was gasping, crying, my heart racing. A nurse rushed in. She thought it was a panic attack. I didn't correct her, because how do you explain that you've seen behind the curtain? That night, I stopped being afraid of death. I became afraid of wasting life. And I knew this wasn't the end of what I was meant to tell. After that night, I stopped trying to forget. At first, I thought maybe my brain was just coping. Trauma, chemicals, hallucinations. That's what the doctors hinted at, gently, like they didn't want to scare me. But what I saw didn't fade the way dreams do. It didn't blur. It didn't soften. It sharpened. A week after I was discharged, I was sitting in my bedroom at home. Same room where I'd collapsed. Same posters on the wall. Same bed. Everything looked normal, but it felt thin. Like reality was only one layer of something much bigger. I was awake. Fully awake. And then the room darkened. Not suddenly. Not violently. It was like someone slowly dimmed the lights of the world. I knew what was coming. I felt her presence before I heard her. "You are still listening," Queen Elizabeth's voice said quietly. I didn't turn this time. I didn't need to. "Yes," I whispered. The air around me shifted, and once again, scenes unfolded clearer than before. Closer. More personal. This time, I wasn't looking at crowds or history. I was looking at children. Elementary school kids. Middle schoolers. Kids barely old enough to spell their names. And yet, each of them carried a weight that felt far too heavy for their small bodies. I saw classrooms where teachers were exhausted and confused, trying to hold order in a world that no longer agreed on truth. I saw children being taught what to think, before they were taught how to think. I saw boys who hated their own strength, girls who hated their own reflection, children told they were mistakes, unless they chose who they wanted to be, and all of it wrapped in language that sounded kind. Be yourself. Choose your truth. You don't need anyone else. The Queen's voice trembled not with fear, but regret. We taught them to trust institutions. She say, "D." But we forgot to teach them to kneel. The scene zoomed closer. I saw kids alone in their rooms at night, phones lighting up their faces. I saw algorithms feeding them despair one video at a time, self-harm disguised as jokes, hopelessness disguised as humor, rage disguised as justice, and beneath it all, the same quiet lie. You are alone. I felt sick. This wasn't happening when you were young, I said. She was silent for a moment. No, she answered. But we planted the seeds. I saw leaders arguing, corporations profiting, media shouting, everyone talking, no one listening, especially not to children. Then, the vision shifted again, and this time, it was different. I saw a small group of kids sitting on the floor of a living room. No screens, no phones, just talking, laughing, asking questions. I saw parents actually listening, really listening. Light filled that space. Not dramatic, just steady, real. They are not lost, the Queen said firmly, but they are being targeted. By what? I asked. She didn't hesitate. By confusion, she said, and by silence from those who know better. I felt a pressure in my chest. What happens if nothing changes? The answer came slowly. Ignorance becomes normal, she said, and despair becomes identity. I realized then this wasn't a prophecy about fire or apocalypse. It was a warning about drift, about a generation quietly slipping away while adults argued over everything except what mattered. Then her voice softened. You were shown this because you still speak simply, she said. You haven't learned to hide truth behind language. I shook my head. I'm just 14, she answered with something I'll never forget. So were many who changed the world. The room began to brighten. The vision pulled back. One more thing, she said urgently. What? She paused. Tell them hell is not only after death, she said. For many children, it begins when they are told they have no purpose. Then she was gone. The light returned fully. My bedroom looked normal again. But I wasn't. I understood something now. The danger isn't that kids are rebellious. It's that they're tired, and they're being asked to carry questions that should never have been theirs alone. The last thing I remember from that night was silence. Not the peaceful kind. The heavy kind, like the world was holding its breath. I woke up in a hospital bed, with a splitting headache and a throat that burned every time I swallowed. The ceiling lights were too bright. Machines beeped steadily beside me. For a moment, I thought I was still there, still in that dark place, still hearing her voice. But then I saw my mom. She was sitting in a chair beside the bed, hunched over, asleep, her hand clutching mine like she was afraid I'd disappear if she let go. Her eyes were red and swollen. I had never seen her look so small. When I squeezed her fingers, she jolted awake. Emily? She whispered, her voice breaking. I nodded. She started crying before she even called for the nurse. Later, they told me I'd been gone for 7 minutes. My heart had stopped. They said it was a reaction, stress, exhaustion, dehydration, a perfect storm. That's what they called it. They didn't call it what I knew it was. A return. For days, I didn't talk much. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't know how. How do you explain hell without sounding crazy? How do you explain meeting someone the whole world thinks they know? At night, I kept seeing the faces of those children. The ones glued to glowing screens. The ones drowning quietly while everyone called it freedom. And I understood why I was sent back. It wasn't to scare people. It was to warn them. One evening, while my parents were in the hallway talking to a doctor, my phone buzzed on the bedside table. Notifications stacked up: Instagram, TikTok, messages from school. I opened Instagram. Perfect faces, perfect bodies, perfect lives, and underneath comments tearing each other apart. Kids my age begging for attention without even realizing it, crying out in emojis and jokes. I felt that same cold from the place below. I deleted the app. Right there. No announcement. No goodbye post. When my friends asked why I'd disappeared, I told them the truth. I died, I said, and I don't want to live like I'm already in hell. Some laughed. Some got uncomfortable. A few listened. One girl messaged me late at night. "Are you serious about what you said? Because I don't want to be here anymore." That message scared me more than anything I saw on the other side. That's when I knew this was the real reason I survived. Not to talk about death, but to fight for the living. I started speaking at my school, just small groups at first. No preaching, no threats, just honesty. I told them how constant comparison hollowed people out, how being watched all the time makes you forget who you are when no one's looking. I told parents too. Your kids don't need more freedom, I said. They need more presence. Some didn't like that, but others cried. And sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet, I still hear her voice, not commanding, not cold, regretful. "Tell them," she had said. So here it is. Hell isn't always fire. Sometimes it's a mirror you stare into every day, waiting for it to tell you you're enough. My name is Emily. I was 14 when I died, and I came back to say this: if we don't protect the minds of our children, someone else will shape them for us, and they won't be kind.